Hey, hola, welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Please step into my office, make yourself comfortable. Sit down. Sit. So this video is going to be somewhat experimental and just kind of dicking around here with other techs that I've got, apps and shit, to see if I can actually kind of start moving into the further stages, grander stages of, bring my channel up to speed. So, we're going to dick around with some clipping and whatnot here, and I'm just going to do a review, technically, on the Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass game now. But I'm not really doing the review. It's for the reality checks course, so I'm kind of reviewing the game, but obviously I'm not going to, badmouth it or anything like that. I'm not a critic. I'm a fan. And there's not much to be critical about, really, other than graphics are a little... I think they probably could have done the graphics better. I mean, they should have been able to with the tech that they had at the time. But it's great. But I'm not really doing the review on the game so much as I am the platform, kind of, but more so the actual emulator, which... The very last game, years and years and years and years and years and forever and ever ago, the very last Zelda game that I got to play, I borrowed Sweetie Cheeks' GameCube, and I took it back to my place. It was still in the house that I grew up in at this point, way back when, looking after it after my grandmother died. And I borrowed her GameCube, and I got to play The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which the Wind Waker is actually... They made several games since then, between the two, I think, but the Phantom Hourglass on the Nintendo DS continues directly off of it. It's a direct sequel to that game, so it's like I get to pick up just right from where I left off, so that's pretty awesome. But I really wish I could have gotten to play the Twilight Princess. I was trying to get an emulator for that, but for some reason GameCube emulators just don't work. Like, they never work. Nobody can get them to work, from what I've heard. But yeah, this game is actually pretty fucking awesome. It's got a lot of cool shit in it. Picking up from Wind Waker, it even has people, fans of Link, dressing up like him. It's got a really cool story to it. It's got all kinds of crazy humor, of course, Wind Waker style. It's got really cool mini games for what it can do on the platform. Link's got fairies in his fucking pocket, no bottle, even just raw dogging that shit. It's got really creepy things in it that are personal to me, even this guy kind of making fun of me here. So, I was kind of weary of the console, really, way back when the NDS came out. I thought it was going to be really stupid. I didn't even want to, try it. I was like, fuck that, playing with the stylus and shit. But, I mean, checking it out now, playing with the stylus takes a bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's super fun, man. It's seriously like you're playing with toys on the screen. With your hand, you're moving them around and shit, directing them, and there's a lot of cool features, like this part right here where you stand on this moving block, and you actually direct the block by drawing a path with the stylus on your map. It's cool as fuck, man. Like, this is true innovation, and that's not even where it stops. Like, Nintendo's got some really fucking cool ideas here if they could incorporate them properly, put them all together. But, I mean, drawing out your path here with this, then there are parts, I lost the footage for this, I accidentally erased it, but there are parts where you actually have to draw symbols out to get through a place, like the puzzle is a symbol. I love how they make use of the dual screen, especially here with this fucking boss, where it's like, you see from the boss's perspective on the other screen, and you gotta shoot the dude with your arrows, and it's like you have to aim your bow with Link using the boss's perspective as your guide. It's fucking crazy awesome. Like, you've seen from his perspective, and you gotta shoot at him. And that's not the end of it. They make use of these dual screens so many different ways. It's just fucking awesome. And the stylus, it's really fun to play with. You got the drawing the symbols thing. There's parts where you use the microphone, like you blow on the microphone to actually, blow out candles and shit. There are parts where you have to yell at it. the part where you have to yell at it, that was like, there's a part where you gotta buy this thing from this dude to continue, and the price can be up to like 1,000 rupees, which would take all fucking day to collect that, and I certainly didn't have it at the time, which the cheats are built here, but I digress. This dude's gonna give you a price, a lower price, depending on how loud you yell at him to give it to you. And I had just gone over to my mom's place at the time. I didn't know this was going to happen. And I went up to my mom's place, and it was late at night. And, of course, my fucking aunt is there sleeping. I hate her. It takes a lot. Like, I'm generally a loving person. If I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I try to be loving, caring, kind to everybody. I consider everyone to be family to me. It takes a whole hell of a lot to get me to, like, actively dislike somebody. And if I'm at that point, like, if I have decidedly, you know, actively dislike a person, then it's already far beyond the extreme. Like, they have made me so angry and disturbed and upset that it's gone into the realm of true hatred, like frenzied hatred. So, but that has nothing to do with the video. I'm sorry, that was tangential. But so I went up there, and my aunt's sleeping, and my mom wants to sleep too. She wasn't sleeping at the time, but she wanted to go to sleep. And I had just gotten up there, and then I get to this part in the game where the only way to progress is to scream at the fucking phone. So that was funny. But yeah, there are parts where you have to draw symbols. There are parts where, you know, you maneuver with the map, and you always have the map as like a notepad that you can write notes on, or you can mark places off. You can even draw your own maps on there. It's really cool. Like, this is true innovation, man. This is the, like, they've come up with some, and the Wii was awesome, you know, and whatever else they did. The 3D thing, that didn't work out so well because it's not real 3D, and it was kind of a stupid idea to begin with, but the NDS with that, the pad, and especially making use of the touch screen that way, which I think the new one, the Nintendo Switch does that too. I'm not sure. I know it has a touchpad, but like, if they incorporated these things together properly, the gyroscope, the Wii controls and nunchucks, the fucking using the microphone and using the pattern recognition, all that shit, they could do some seriously crazy awesome shit, man. That's like real virtual reality right there, even with the NDS, that I'm able to move this character around. Essentially what you're doing is you're using the stylus to maneuver the fairy, and Link's chasing the fairy around. So pretty much it's kind of like second-hand telling. It's like fourth person, you could say. It's very cool that you're like playing with it like a toy. But what I really wanted to review here is the emulator, because putting this shit on the phone, where you have the two screens directly on top of one another, and you have, you know, for the most part, you have everything out of the way. The way that this emulator makes use of what the phone's capacity is, what the phone's capability is, that it has the microphone, it has the vibration, it has everything that it needs to perfectly mimic this system. And they did it perfectly. I don't know what the emulator's called specifically. I imagine, though, that any NDS emulator is going to be similar, at least, if not the same. Oof, sorry. But they have everything perfectly functional. Like I said, where you blow out the candles using a microphone, you have to yell at it, the pattern recognition using the stylus, having the two screens directly on top of one another, immediately available, and essentially having the buttons out of the way if you don't need to use them, which you don't need to use them for Zelda. You pretty much use the stylus for everything. The buttons are really just used as shortcuts in certain cases, but you don't need them. It's phenomenal. It's really, really cool. I'm really happy that I found this because, you know, slight review for the telephone itself, or for Google Play rather, or what have you. They don't make any good games on the phone, ever. Like, they made one rip-off of Zelda called Ocean Horn. I wanted to do a review for that, but I lost all my footage. They made one game that was a rip-off of Metal Gear that was really crappy, but I mean, for what it's worth, it was a rip-off of Metal Gear, which made it at least okay. But, you know, aside from those, and then they have a few, like, old-school RPG games, but even, like, Final Fantasy and shit, when they make games for the phone, they blow. They're like, there's no plot structure, there's no story, nothing's ever happening. Even that Life After game that I was so psyched about, that I was telling you guys about post and shit, turned out to be bunk, because it's just random fetch quest bullshit. It's just, there's nothing happening. There's no story to the game. There's no substance. It's just surface fucking run around and collect shit, you know, chop wood and fucking build things, and it's like, dude, is there anything ever gonna, like, be happening? It's like, go and hunt some random monster with other people online. Yay! Well, I don't know what that monster is or what it's doing there. It has no context whatsoever. It's just empty and depressing. Like, I hate that. So I guess you could say this is kind of a review on the overall schematic for the Google Play gaming system. You know, their whole, like, anybody out there that might be involved in making games for the phone, making app games, dude, get your fucking shit together. We used to make excellent games, dude. Look at the Nintendo era, look at the Super Nintendo era, look at even PlayStation 2 even, right up to there. It was really going to be around PlayStation 3 area where they made a few ones, like Fallout, they made The Witcher, you know, Deus Ex, they made some pretty awesome games. And even like Warframe, the online internet game, that was banging because they kept adding plot parts, you know, pieces of the story that were almost like seasons to a television show, that every now and then, every month or even couple months or so, you get another installment that was a few areas that were new, with new characters and new plot structure. That's how you do it, man. I mean, if you're gonna make a stupid game that's just based on random fucking running around and collecting shit with other people, then at least give it installments, pieces of a story, dude. Don't leave it totally fucking empty. That's so fucking stupid. It's such a waste of time, and it's just like, it's really, because that's all I've got is the phone. So, I mean, my only options are an emulator or just games that are fucking stupid bullshit. Just over and over and over again, the same fucking thing. Just collect shit, and pretty much what they're trying to get you to do is buy shit, because it takes so fucking long to get anything that's worthwhile. And even when you do get it, what can you do with it? There's no point. There's no story. Nothing is happening. It's just ongoing forever and ever and ever. Repeat the same shit. And that sucks. You guys out there making phone games, there was one, The Cat Beyond Time or something like that. I can't remember what it was called, what the head title was, the primary title, but the subtitle was like The Cat Beyond Time. That was a good one. It was made by the same people that made Chrono Trigger, and it was fun for a long while, but it suffered the same fate as most RPG games, old school traditional RPG games, where you get to a point in the game where it's like you can't advance, your characters aren't strong enough to advance without spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just leveling them up, which is another, that's the same thing, repeating the same thing over and over again. That ruins the game, makes it totally shitty, because even when you do get strong enough to advance, you know that you're just going to hit that same wall in the next part of the game. So that's what you guys need to clean up, anybody who's making fucking video games. I'm going to do my best to see to it that this gets to somebody that's influential in that area, because that's pretty much it. Make a good game that has a good, solid story. Get yourself some real fucking writers. I'm available if you need one. I can make you some phenomenal fucking stories. Believe me, I've got thousands of them rolling around right now. And do not give it that part where later on in the game it gets to the point where it's too fucking difficult to progress. Don't do that. That ruins it every time. And most RPGs suffer that problem. So, yeah, the NDS is awesome. It's got all these cool features. It's fantastic. Legend of Zelda, of course, Legend of Zelda games are always going to be the one that showcases the new tech of whatever platform they're on. Which it's fallen prey to that, really, because they don't make new Zelda games anymore. They make one Zelda game for the console as a gimmick to showcase its properties, and then you have to wait till the next console to get another Zelda game. So that's, and they even started making them one another, making a remake of the same game on the next console, so that you know, pushing you to buy the next console instead of being able to play on yours. So it's all a gimmick in and of itself, but yeah, the emulator's fucking fabulous. That's super cool. I'm so glad I found it. It makes perfect use of the phone in all of its functions and you know, properties. It's awesome. So I'm really happy with that. Hopefully this video worked out the way that I had hoped for it to. We shall see. Thank you all for watching. Keelah Salai, Taerve Uni, Siari, Namasté.